Hi, It's All About Automation. This is Gary Mintchell, Editor-in-Chief of Automation World Magazine, and here at a Panera Bread trying to get my hands around last week's Automation Fair, Process Solutions Users Group, a whole week of Rockwell Automation indoctrination in my case, and it was quite a week, and very, very busy as usual. I'm talking on Monday, November the 7th. And a lot happened. The most interesting thing of the whole week is to sit back and reflect on how far Rockwell Automation has come in the last 5 years. Simply amazing. Without much fanfare, with pretty much the same senior management team. I think in the last few years they've lost one, did a little reshuffling, but you still have Keith Nosbusch and Sujeet Chand, who's the CTO, Senior Vice President, Steve Eisenbrown, and Ted Crandall are still senior vice presidents. Added Bob Ruff to a new position, and John McDermott. So there's a bunch of people that I've talked to for years, and so they've had a stable management, but they sure have changed the culture. People are now coming and staying instead of coming and going. Used to be 5 years ago and before that you had to be kind of coming up through the whole system of Rockwell in order to stay, but now people are coming. Some people have been there now 5 years, brought in, and that's a significant change. And Keith Nosbusch and his team have done that very quietly, but very thoroughly, and it's very interesting. One of the most interesting things about that is the process solutions. Keith identified that as a focal point the last few years. They have really beefed up the process systems in terms of technology, acquisitions, people they've brought in. They had the PSUG on Monday and Tuesday, attracted well over 400 customers, and that is really significant. That's a lot of customers, total of about 650 people there, and that was quite significant. They increased or released a new version of their, what they call the Plant PAX, their DCS. And by the way, interesting thing, the term PAC, PAC, did not come up this week. They have what they call integrated control. So they have the Logix platform, and it's Logix everywhere. It's the same Logix platform, but in the Plant PAX, it's a DCS, and in the and otherwise it's a controller for discrete or integrated discrete and motion control. And their integration is getting better and better. On the DCS side, though, they're integrating more stuff, embedding some advanced process control. Redundancy is now tremendously enhanced, including redundant networks. I learned a lot about redundant Ethernet IP. Now it's Ether with a capital N/IP. That's a brand name from ODVA of their of the SIP networks. So a lot going on there. The process was very interesting. My interview with Keith Nosbusch was interesting. I asked him about his. All of a sudden, he's speaking out. I get press releases, and he's giving speeches on increasing manufacturing in the United States. And I asked him about his visibility, and he says, "Hey, it's about a strong economy. You can't create wealth in an economy unless you have strong manufacturing. And we just have to have a manufacturing policy. The government has to have an environment that enhances manufacturing." And so he's speaking out on that. And I said, "But you're the CEO of a global company. What about other countries?" And he says, "Hey, other countries get it. You know, they do boost manufacturing. So we just have to remind Americans that they need to do the same thing." Let's see, I think that's about the end of Keith. I had other things that I came up with Keith. I asked Sujeet Chand, who's the Chief Technology Officer, Senior Vice President, about manufacturing and things I should be looking for. And he said, "Hey, it's a great time to be in manufacturing, but we need to tell people that manufacturing is not a stodgy old technology where you go in and greasy plants or things like that. But it's really a high technology enterprise these days. There's a lot of technology going on, a lot of reason for technology development. We need new sensors, for example. If we're going to control more processes, we need better sensors. Maybe we need to sense bacteria in tomato sauce or something so we can better control the tomato sauce or find or enhance the quality or that sort of thing. A lot of new technologies. We're doing a lot of model-based control and a lot of model-based simulation, so there's a lot of software development that needs to be done. So Sujeet says, hey, it's an exciting time to be in manufacturing, and we need to work on attracting people and getting more developments and all this sort of thing. Generation Y came up a lot. They had Andrew McAfee, an MIT professor who wrote a book called Enterprise 2.0, and he was talking about Enterprise 2.0 meets manufacturing. Actually, it could be called Manufacturing 1.0. But they talk about Gen Y people, but hey, I've got my Twitter account and all that stuff, and my smartphone I've had for years. So it's not just 20-somethings, but they expect to be connected. They don't expect to come in and have management tell them to shut everything down. Their smartphones and their connections and all that stuff. And so if you're smart, you'll keep those connections up. And his point is, you do that to enhance collaboration. The more you can connect with each other, the more you can collaborate. Jim Davis was a speaker on Tuesday. Jim Davis is the CIO of UCLA, but he's there because he's a chemical engineer and was talking about the Smart Process Manufacturing Initiative. Rockwell is supporting with a number of companies, and they're coming up with a roadmap to help people move to the next generation of process manufacturing. So that's going on right now. There's a lot of work, a lot of really, really smart people. I know at least half of the working committee, and I can vouch they're really, really smart, good manufacturing people, and they're working on a roadmap to do a little bit of evangelizing and lay out some technology points that people can use to start to enhance manufacturing, and as he says, bring it up into Manufacturing 1.0 so that we can move to Manufacturing 2.0. I'll have more on my blog and other writings at Automation World on what he's talking about there. Theme of Automation Fair, and Automation Fair is a trade show primarily, but it also is a huge amount of training these days. Attracted probably between 11,000 and 12,000 total people. If you filter out Rockwell people and distributors, you probably come up with about between 6,000 and 7,000 customers and user customers. It's a lot of people. It's probably the biggest trade show in controls, definitely in the United States, and maybe otherwise. And so it was huge. There was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of Ethernet IP. People are Ethernet IP enabling vision systems, process sensing devices, interestingly enough, and a lot of things going on there. The theme was smart, safe, sustainable, and most of the Rockwell people want to talk about integrated architecture, integrating all the logics and all the architectures, using Ethernet as the backbone for everything. And manufacturing intelligence is the key phrase. It's not just MES. It's taking all the information from controllers and sensors and MES and everything else and applying another level called manufacturing intelligence so that we can get what's called actionable information so that managers, operators, executives can find information in a way that they can use it and therefore make better decisions on manufacturing at whatever level they're doing it on. So that's probably a really quick summary of everything that I picked up. Like I said, there was an awful lot of stuff going on last week in Orlando. And like I say, the most significant thing is just that the whole company has really changed very quietly in a number of directions. It's not the same Rockwell that I knew as a customer in the 80s or when I was selling their stuff in the 90s. Big changes going on and very interesting and very optimistic. So they're becoming quite a player in process. They've always been a player in discrete, moving internationally very well. So a lot of positive stuff going on. I always like it when I can go someplace and get positive energy instead of some of the negative stuff I get sometimes. So anyway, this is Gary Mintchell, Editor-in-Chief Automation World Magazine. And this is another Mintchell Report.